Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about some of the best tools to have on hand and what I keep in my RC toolbox for working on my cars. I typically will bring this toolbox with me whenever I go out and drive my cars because it's small and portable and it has a lot of handy items in it in case something breaks down along the way. So, this is the box here. This is basically just a tackle box that I picked up on Amazon. So we'll go through it and what I keep inside. So the top compartment here is a large compartment. I just basically throw a bunch of loose items into, or the larger items. So just going from the top here, I keep with me some miscellaneous assortment of different shock oil weights. Shock oil is nice to have on hand because certain times if you crash your car, you could pop one of your shock caps and then you lose the oil inside. So having a tube of shock oil can be very helpful for those type of situations. And a lot of these items you can either pick up at your local hobby shop or you can find online at Amazon. Now, one of the most helpful tools if you're working on your RC car is to have a set of these Allen screwdrivers. So as opposed to using this, the small little Allen keys, having a screwdriver one is very helpful. You can pick up a set of these, and they come in sizes ranging from 1.5 millimeters to 3 millimeters. So having these on hand will save your fingers very much. And 2 millimeter is the one used most often, so this guy gets a lot of use. I also usually will keep a few different bearings on hand with me, just in case I need to replace one throughout the day. I really like using the Avid Revolution set, and you can pick these up from their website. They make a kitted bundle for the Slash, Rustler, all the different Traxxas trucks that you may have, and these are very helpful. These are unique because they have you'll see the color yellow ring is a silicone material, and that goes, or more of a plastic rubber material, but that goes on the outside base of your bearing, and the other side is metal, and that goes on the inside face of the bearing. So they say that way you get the benefits of the faster metal speed, but the greater protection of the rubber outside ring. But these are pretty cheap, pretty good value, so it's nice to have a couple of these on hand just in case you're having issues with the bearing. I also do keep a socket drive set with a couple of handy sockets for replacing wheels. So these are very helpful to use as opposed to this is the standard little wheel socket removal tool that comes with your truck, but this guy again saves your fingers a lot, and you can get different size sockets depending on your wheel hex nut size too. I even have a 17 millimeter adapter if you use like the larger 17 millimeter buggy style hex nuts on your car. Having a socket set really helps for removing those. I also do usually keep this is just a pair of pliers, pair of needle nose pliers, extra pair that I had laying around. Sometimes these come in handy for holding on to parts of your car if you have to fix something or removing something, bending something. As far as spare parts, the axles on these trucks, especially the stock plastic ones, can break very easily. They'll typically, this is the outside piece, but they can snap right there. So if you're going, especially if it's your first time out to the track, or if you're doing some heavier duty driving or 3S driving, I would recommend to preemptively pick up a couple pairs of both the front and rear drive shafts to have on hand, because it really kind of sucks if you get out there and then you break apart especially a drive shaft part, in the first 15 minutes, it can really ruin the rest of your day. So having a couple of extra of those on hand, usually a couple of bucks at your hobby shop, can really save you. I also just throw a couple miscellaneous things in here. I have some double-sided tape. This is just some bearing oil like I got with the Avid bearing sets. I don't really use that too often, but I wanted to kind of try it out. And I think that pretty much covers what I have in here. I also have a permanent marker. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Sometimes I usually like to keep any extra parts that I have laying around because you never know when they might come in handy. So if you're ever replacing parts, it can be helpful to have a toolbox or a bin where you just kind of keep everything together. So one of the features I like about this box here is it has these individual compartments. And again, I think it was mainly designed for like fishing lures and stuff like that. But I use them. This top one, I have all my different screw sizes in here. So again, just a collection that I've accumulated over the years. We open this up. I kind of have them sorted by, roughly sorted by the different sizes. And I have a few extra pinion gears, some shock spacers, a couple of different height body mounts for adjusting the right height of your cover. And then I also have some extra of the wheel nuts and some clips. These clips can kind of come in handy because they seem to find a way to get lost pretty easily. So there's just a miscellaneous assortment of different screws. It's funny sometimes when a part pops off, the screw goes with it, and then you may find the part, but the screw can be a lot harder to find in the dirt. So if you have any extra screws, keep them on hand. This one is just kind of like some miscellaneous shock springs that I've collected. I've tried different sizes and spring stiffness. So these are a couple extra. Again, the shocks pop off. Sometimes you lose or break a spring. I also have some of these extra shock caps as well. Those can come in handy. And again, some of this stuff is just kind of like little bits and pieces. Not really too important to have on hand, but I figured I'd just show you what I have in case it helps. So in this one, I have just some blue thread locker. I don't really use that too much, but on some hardware, it is helpful to have. I do also like to keep an extra set of batteries in case your transmitter or controller goes dead. Again, that can be something that can quickly ruin the rest of your day. So having an extra set of 4 batteries on hand can be helpful. This is just some extra of the Traxxas silicone grease. This is used like on the O-rings around the electronic parts for water sealing. So if you're accessing your ESC or the receiver, then you'll be using that not too often, but occasionally when that wears out. And then I do also keep some extra zip ties. Zip ties seem to always come in handy for holding parts in place, wires in place, or for wire routing, usually for like the batteries. I don't really use zip ties too much for that because I have removable Velcro straps, but zip ties can always come in handy along with some super glue in a pinch. May need to try to put something back together if it breaks. So there you go. And then I also have just the binding wire for the receiver transmitter. So I just keep that so I don't lose it. And then for the bottom one, I don't really think there's anything too important here. And just some extra miscellaneous parts. Let's see what we got. Oh, we got a couple different of the body mount adapters here. And then these little guys that go on top of that there. The names are kind of escaping me at the moment, so sorry if I'm just using generic terms. A few extra different screws, and then got some slipper clutch parts here that I replaced. I have a video on that as well. So that pretty much covers the main tools that I keep with me in my toolbox. And again, the really helpful ones, especially if you're starting out or even if you work on your cars a lot, these guys, these screwdriver Allen sets, really save your fingers, along with a socket adapter for the wheel nuts, having some extra shock oil on hand, and then bearings as well can really make a difference. And then I also do like to keep, I'll bring some silicone spray with me when I go out just for cleaning my car, keeping everything lubricated and running well. So if you haven't seen my video on how I recommend to clean the your RC truck, then this comes in very handy for that. I hope these tips help you out and maybe give you some ideas on what to keep in your own RC toolbox. If you guys have any comments or thoughts on what you guys use or what tools that you like to have, please leave comments below. Love to get your feedback on that. I'm always looking for better ideas and ways to improve my setup. And if you guys enjoyed the video and want to stay around for more RC content, then please subscribe and like the video.